Sixers fans, welcome to the show. All right, my name is Lawrence Arnell. This is the first episode of the show. I figured now is as good a time as any to get started. Our beloved 76ers have had an offseason like I have not seen in a very, very long time. Daryl Morey really put his foot in it this year. And he seems to have laid out a plan that's actually kind of worked. And the latest news in that saga is the signing of a player that many of us thought might land here, but nobody could say was really sure. The Sixers have finally landed their power forward. They signed French power forward Guershon Yabusele. Guershon Yabusele comes to the Sixers at a time when his stock is actually as high as it's probably ever been. All right, we're talking about a guy who was drafted by the Boston Celtics back in 2019. He played 2 years for the Celtics. I actually got his stats here. He played 2 years for the Celtics, a total of 74 games, 2018-19 and 2017-18, the year before that. 74 games, 6.5 minutes, 2.3 points a game, nothing real crazy, right? Yabusele leaves after not being able to make it work in Boston. He heads to Europe. He finds himself playing for Real Madrid, which is one of the top teams over there. They're always a contender. He's making a decent amount of money, and this year he shows out in the Olympics. Shows out. He is actually in the Olympics. You could hear him in the final against the U.S., you could hear chants of MVP, MVP coming from the audience, from the crowd, whenever Yabusele touched the ball during the final. And this guy is playing with Victor Wembanyama, and the crowd is calling for him to be the MVP during the Olympics. This is a dude who is actually showing out, okay? Yabusele is doing his thing, and then he does the move that I believe earned him a second chance in the NBA. He posterizes LeBron James. LeBron tried to take a charge, and Yabusele ain't had nothing for him but hips. So I'm surprised that this image even exists on the internet anymore, but you can see there's LBJ, King James, being crowned by this Frenchman. And I think that that's the move that really put him on a lot of people's maps, especially Daryl Morey, because we had a void at the power forward spot. Yabusele did something that made a lot of sense after this. He posted a tweet saying, "Hey, I've been looking for my second chance. Who's going to, let's go, I'm ready." And he looks ready. And I mean, literally looks ready. If you look at this guy, if you look at him back in 2019, he was the 16th pick in the draft. You look at him back then and you look at him today, and he has clearly done the work, right? This is a guy who has clearly done the work. He has gotten in shape. He has worked on his shot. He has an excellent attitude, and he has prepared himself for another go-round. And I think he's earned it. And I think that the Sixers have done a smart thing in picking him up. I feel I got heavy Kelly Oubre vibes from this move. I feel like the Sixers could have had lightning strike twice. Last year, the Sixers took a chance on a guy that didn't seem to be like he was going to get a deal anywhere in Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre came to Philly, and it turns out he had a little bit of that dog in him. Right? I mean, he even survived the car crash to get back on the field, to get back on the court. And every game, you knew Kelly Oubre was going to leave it all out there on the floor. Kelly Oubre played himself into a bigger contract, and I feel like the Sixers kind of stole a bit of a dog when we got him. He endeared himself to the city, right? People love him because he gets out there on the floor. And I mean, we Sixers fans, we know what we really want is somebody who's going to go out there and be willing to die on the floor. We're all looking for the next I'm willing to die out here, Allen Iverson attitude kind of guy. And Kelly Oubre came out there and put the dog on the floor for us every night. And you get the sense from Guershon Yabusele that he's got that dog in him. When you watch him play in the Olympics, when you see him bang on arguably the greatest player of all time, like, he's not shying away from anybody. This is a dude with some dog in him. You can't run away from that, right? You can't pretend you don't see that. And on top of everything else, the greatest evidence for me that the Sixers made a good move by picking up Guershon Yabusele is Yabusele has to get bought out of his contract with Real Madrid. He's got another year on his contract. $2.5 million for one more year. He's coming to Philly for something in that minimum range, $2 million, $2.2 million, something like that. But the Sixers can only pay $850,000 of the money that he is owed back to Real Madrid. That means Yabusele has to figure out how to cover that bill for himself. And he's going to be taking what amounts to a pay cut to come here. This is a man who is betting on himself. This is a man who knows that he has done the work, he's put in the work, and he's ready to go, and he's willing to bet on himself. He's willing to take the pay cut. He's willing to take the chance. He's willing to get out here. I feel like we're about to watch another last year with Kelly Oubre. And it's even easier. It's an even more confidence-inspiring move because we needed Kelly Oubre to do something last year. We needed him to get out there and get busy because Joel got hurt and we were still messing around with Tobias Harris. But we don't need Guershon Yabusele to come to Philly and tear the roof off the Wells Fargo Center. We don't need that. What we need from him is somebody who's willing to put up the three. He's worked on his three-point shot. It wasn't so great in the Olympics, but during the year at Real Madrid, he was like a plus 41% shooter, if I'm not mistaken. We don't need him to be Paul George. We have Paul George, right? We don't need him to be a star. We don't even need him to start. We just need him to be willing to put the dog out on the floor, be willing to shoot, help stretch the floor. It'd be awesome if he's an actual rebounder. If he's worked on his rebound, if he's got a nose for the ball, that's a plus. Okay? But I think this is a good move. It was about 2 days ago, day before yesterday, this happened. So I'm a little late to the party, but I'm a little late to this party anyway. Listen, man, I hope y'all are enjoying the content. If you are, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and come back because we're going to be here all season watching the games. Once we get the numbers up and we can go live, we'll be watching the games. We're going to be here doing reactions, talking about post-game critiques, what we like, what we didn't like, build a little bit of a community down there in the chat, in the comments, and let's ride, man. 24, 25. The Sixers look like they really built themselves a bit of a contender. And we're going to see. We'll trust the process. In the meantime, y'all be good to each other, get close to God, and whatever you do, do good first. Peace.